The morning was too still, the kind of quiet that felt like the world was holding its breath, waiting for something to shatter. Juniper Lane, a pristine pocket of suburban Florida, gleamed under a cloudless sky, its manicured lawns and HOA-enforced fences screaming order. But beneath the surface, a storm was brewing, one that would tear through this picture-perfect neighborhood and leave no one untouched. James Carter stood on his porch, a faded hoodie hanging loose on his broad frame, cargo pants creased from wear. His hand gripped the leash clipped to Titan, a golden retriever whose red Service vest glowed like a warning sign. Titan wasn't just a doe, was James's anchor, trained to sense the creeping dread of a PTSD spiral, to nudge him awake from night terrors, to guide him through crowded stores when migraines blurred his VY shown. They'd been a unit since James returned from Mosul, his body intact but his mind scarred deeper than any shrapnel could cut. The HOA meetings, with their fluorescent lights and petty debates over mailbox colors, made his skin crawl, but Titan kept him steady, a levying reminder he was still fighting, just not with a rifle anymore. It was a Tuesday, no meeting, just a walk before the Florida sun turned the pavement into a griddle. Titan's tail flicked as James unlatched the gate, his brown eyes scanning the cul-de-sac for squirrels or stray cats. They'd barely stepped onto the sidewalk when the silence cracked. A roaring engine, not idling but accelerating, tires screeching against asphalt. James's body locked up, instincts from a war zone screaming. His left eye twitched, an old injury flaring. Then came the thud. Not loud, not dramatic, but sickening, like a punch to the gut. Titan yelped, a sharp, broken sound that cut through James like a blade. He spun around. A white Mercedes SUV had jumped the curb, its front tire inches from where James's boot had been. Titan lay crumpled on the concrete, one leg twisted at a grotesque angle, his chest heaving in shallow, pained bursts. Behind the wheel sat Linda Prescott, HOA president, mid-50s, blonde streaks in her hair, diamond studs glinting in the morning light. One hand clutched the steering wheel, the other held a phone to her ear. She didn't look horrified. She looked irritated, like she'd clipped a mailbox. Her lips moved, slow and deliberate. "That dog shouldn't be here." Then she drove off, tires bumping back onto the road, levying James frozen, his heart slamming against his ribs. His mind flickered Mosul, dust, gunfire, then snapped back. Titan wheezed, blood seeping into his golden fur. James dropped to his knees, hands hovering, terrified to touch. "Stay with me, buddy," he whispered, voice cracking. "I got you." No one came. No doors opened. The neighborhood, so obsessed with rules, stayed silent. A sprinkler hissed. A dog barked 2 streets over. Time stopped on that HOA-regulated sidewalk, levying James, a battle-hardened Marine, more helpless than he'd ever been. Minutes later, footsteps. Curtains twitched, phones emerged. Neighbors gathered not to help but to watch, their faces a mix of shock and curiosity. A teenager called 911. A woman gasped at Titan's mangled leg. A man muttered, "Christ," and backed away. James didn't see them. His world was Titan's shallow breaths, the blood pooling beneath him. "He's a Service dog," he chanted, a desperate mantra. "She hit a Service dog." First responders arrived, animal control trailing a patrol car. A young officer approached, notepad in hand, voice cautious. "You sure she saw him? Maybe it was an accident." James's head snapped up, eyes burning. Red vest. Service animal on both sides. "We were on the sidewalk." The cop nodded, took photos, measured skid marks, but James caught the hesitation, the same look he'd seen in VA offices, authority dodging accountability. At the vet hospital, time blurred. Beeping machines, blue scrubs, questions James couldn't answer. He sat in a plastic chair, Titan's blood on his pants, hands numb. The surgeon's words hit like gunfire: fractured femur, internal bleeding, possible nerve damage. Titan might never walk right, might never work again. The bill climbed past to lost 17,000. James had SAVYNGS, barely. A GoFundMe, maybe? But what price do you put on the reason you're still alive? That night, James sat by Titan's kennel, the dog sedated, for lines taped to his paw. His phone buzzed. A neighbor had forwarded a next-door post from Linda. PSA: Pets shouldn't be in HOA common areas. Accidents happen. No apology, no remorse, just a jab cloaked in policy. James's blood boiled, but his hands didn't shake. He looked at Titan, bandages tight, chest rising faintly, then opened his laptop. The Department of Justice website loaded. He started typing. Sleep wasn't an option. The vet's ICU glowed blue, machines humming, Titan's heart monitor ticking like a countdown. James scrolled the ADA website, words he'd read before now razor sharp. One line burned: harming a CER-VYC animal is legally assault on the disabled handler, subject to federal charges. Not a suggest Iona promise. He made calls, his VA counselor, an ADA attorney, the DOJ's CIVYL rights DVY Shaun. His voice was calm, lethal. My CER-VYC dog was hit intentionally by the HOA president. I have EVY Denke. I want a federal complaint. By dawn, he'd sent photos, medical records, Linda's post, the HOA fine she'd slapped on him for harboring a dangerous animal. This wasn't rage, it was strategy. Linda thought her title made her untouchable. She was about to learn what happens when you cross a Marine who reads law like a battle plan. Linda wasn't sorry. She was furious, offended anyone dared challenge her reign over Juniper Lane. When James posted a photo of Titan leg in a cast, CER-VYC vest draped over him in the HOA's Facebook group, he wrote simply, "My partner's down. Keep your cars on the road." It should have ended there. But Linda couldn't resist. Her comment appeared in admin blue. HOA isn't liable for vet bills due to resident negligence. Leash your dog next time. The thread exploded. Neighbors called her out, others backed her, citing her old rants against fake CER-VYC dogs and veterans. Milking PTSD. Screenshots spread her mocking memes, her dismissing emotional support animals as toys for adults. Then came the letter, HOA logo gleaming, delivered to James's door. It accused Titan of being potentially aggressive, fining James to law $500 daily until the dog was removed. Retaliation, plain and cruel. James didn't flinch. He saw violations: ADA, Fair Housing Act, Rehabilitation Act. He photographed the letter, sent it to his attorney. They escalated. I'm ready. His folder grew, Titan's certifications, VA records, accident photos, Linda's posts. He wasn't just fighting, was building a case. 2 weeks later, Linda stepped out her door, acai bowl in hand, scrolling complaints about unauthorized fence paint. She expected a delivery, not 2 federal marshals and an ADA investigator. Linda Prescott, you're under arrest for violating the ADA, harassment, and willful injury of a CER-VYC animal. Her bowl shattered on the mat, purple mush pooling. I didn't mean it, she stammered. I didn't see the vest. The investigator opened a folder, photos of Titan's vest, Linda's posts, the fine, her anti-veteran rants. Neighbors watched, phones out, as cuffs clicked shut. One shouted, "You're off the board next month!" In court, Linda's high-priced lawyers pushed denial: poor eyesight, no intent, a scared woman startled by a dog. But the prosecution was relentless. Ring footage showed the hit, Titan's vest clear as day. ADA papers, James's disability records, Linda's own words on screen. Pets aren't people. Veterans should deal with life. The HOA letter sealed it, a retaliatory dagger. When James took the stand, dress uniform gleaming, he spoke plainly. Titan stopped me from ending my life. She didn't hit a dog, she hit why I'm still here. A juror wiped tears. Linda's defense crumbled. The verdict was swift, guilty on all counts. 18 months in prison, $42,000 in fines, banned from HOA rolls. Linda's face cracked, arrogance gone. Outside, James was at the vet rehab, Titan limping but walking, alive. 6 months later, Juniper Lane had changed. Linda's name was erased, the fine voided, an apology issued. A new plaque at the gate read, "This community welcomes all, including veterans and Serve-YC dogs." James saw it on a walk, Titan's new vest bright. A neighbor asked, "What if the law hadn't backed you?" James smiled. "I'm a Marine. The fight wouldn't have ended." Titan trotted on, and justice bit deep.